Welcome to our spoiler review of Kill the Boyband by Goldy Moldavsky.
I just really wanted to read this.
Looking at the cover, it's so catchy. You've got like these bright pink block letters and a black cover and
Kill the Boyband.
Yeah, it says read me, I'm pop culture-y and candy and fun.
And like, we grew up in the 90s, which was the era of the war of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Neither of us were really involved in the war. We definitely like felt like the
repercussions.
Yeah, like I remember my cousins just like screaming at each other because one of them was all for NSYNC and the other was all for Backstreet Boys, and they would fight over the use of the computer just to look at their specific websites because that's what you did back then.
The closest I ever came to being like obsessed with a band was the Spice Girls, and I would trade their like physical photographs at recess, and I still have them. Pretty much the only fandom I can ever think of that I've ever actually participated in was the Spice Girls. Even then I wasn't like nuts. I don't know, maybe my parents will tell you different, but
Yeah, you were a big deal though. You actually had a Spice Girls CD. I didn't.
It was the first CD I ever owned.
The first CD I ever owned. Are you ready for this?
No.
Neil Diamond. Okay, so this book follows four girls and their love of the Ruperts. Like, love of the Ruperts. Like, love of the Ruperts.
They eat, sleep, and breathe this band. They go online, they have memorabilia, they kiss their posters, they talk about them all the time.
They go on stalking runs.
They will buy anything with these faces on them.
Toothbrush, tank tops, perfume, watches.
We smell like them. So weird. And while they acknowledge that maybe the band isn't quite perfect, they don't really take that to heart because, you know, they'll make fun of like, oh, the newest haircut or something that they said, but really they're just like obsessed, and the thought of getting close to the Ruperts just drives them absolutely out of their minds.
So they end up staying in this hotel that they know the Ruperts are staying in, hoping that, you know, maybe they'll see them. Maybe they'll like see one of them down the hall or see them come in, and Apple goes to the ice machine.
Apple comes back dragging a body.
It is Rupert P.
Rupert P is like the, I don't know, Brian, Howie.
He's not, you know how, okay, when you think of a boy band, you always, like, there are stereotypes, right? Like, you have the talented one, who's, like, may not look the best, but they're, like, they love their art. And then you have the good-looking one. And then you have the stupid one. And then you have the one who's just there to round out their numbers.
You might have the bad boy in there.
Yeah. But then there's the useless one, who's just kind of there, doesn't really dance as well as the rest of them, doesn't really sing as well as the rest of them.
You're like, if the band lost this member, they'd survive.
Yeah.
And he's ugly, he juggles, he's probably in the closet, most of the fans think. He has his own fandom following, but, you know, out of all of them, he's the one the band could lose.
So he's the one they accidentally end up kidnapping.
So they, in a moment of panic, they drag him back into their hotel room and tie him to a chair and blindfold him, and then leave him in the room with Apple, who is obsessed with him.
Oh my god.
This is kind of like the moment when you're reading this book and you're like, oh, if the genders were reversed on this, like, I would be freaking the fuck out.
And then that in itself is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, these girls have this guy tied up. He is kidnapped. Why is this not creeping me out? Because this is really kind of fucked up. But it's because it's that stereotype of fandom, right? It's just, they're crazy teenage girls. Like, what's the worst they can do? It's kind of funny that she's licking his face. Even though that's, like, sexual assault.
So it makes you sit there and examine your assumptions. And it really kind of breaks your brain a little bit.
Yeah, it's just because, like, fandom, like, fangirls
are just dangerous.
Yeah, they're, you know, it's funny, you know? Is it? Is it, though? Like, is...
I did not watch much music as a kid, like, let me tell you. Not any of it.
I had cousins, man, they wanted to see the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, so this is new to me.
Yeah, so, like, it's interesting how fangirlism can be wrote off as meaningless, but at the same time also kind of vilified.
Yeah.
Like, it's fascinating.
Yeah, and you know what? in all truth, especially in this book too, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Like, they have the police on the street, they're keeping them out of the hotels, but they've been camped out for hours and they're going crazy because all this band politics is going on behind the scenes, and one of the members has quit. And so by the end of the book, they just go mad and they storm the hotel.
Yeah, they like climb the scaffolding. Like,
Yeah.
it's terrifying. Think like King Kong holding Fay Ray. Like, it's like...
Zombie army of doom just destroy everything. Like, you can imagine that this hotel is ripped to shreds by the end of it.
And, like, okay, so the author does look at the, like, crazy aspect of fandom. Like, that we have this guy tied up in their room, and we're not going to release him. We're not going to. We're going to do something with this. But at the same time, she looks at the good side as well. At one point, our main character, who we never actually know her name, she keeps using a lot of aliases. At one point, our main character is sitting in a bar and she's talking to the bartender, and he just, like, stereotypic hipster bartender. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like totally mainstream, and like in a couple of years you're gonna be embarrassed that you were so in love with them, because boy bands, they have like a 2-year shelf life, and na. And he asks her, why do you love them so much? And her response is, they make her happy. Why should she justify something that makes her that happy?
And to be honest, like, kind of through loving this fandom, the two of the girls discover, like, their talents in life. The main character has started to write fan fictions about them, and she's getting, like, a lot of hits. So in that way, she's learning that, hey, I'm a good writer. Maybe I can start writing my own stuff, and I don't have to just write fan fictions. And that's a direction she can go in life. Whereas Isabel, one of the girls who's violent and ruthless, realizes that she's got a talent for running gossip sites. And so she ends up, like, getting in good with the Rupert's manager and getting, like, hot tips. And by the end of the book, because she's kind of influenced these events, she can go off and start her own really popular gossip site to rival, like,
Gawker and things.
Yeah.
A lot of people definitely see the world through their fandoms. Like, when I was a kid, I loved Lord of the Rings. Like, I loved it, and I wrote fan fiction, and I, like, read fan fiction, and I looked at pictures, and, like, I didn't talk to people on the internet about it because I was nervous about chat rooms, because I was like,
because it was the 90s.
It was the 90s. Like, I met a few people through, like, websites like Neopets who also loved Lord of the Rings, and, like, I started writing, and that's how I started writing.
So yeah, like, there's definitely, like, a growing process that is involved in being in a fandom, and the author kind of touches on that. And I don't think she really takes, like, a stance on anything, which is nice. She just kind of gives you all the things and lets you kind of put them together. Yeah.
Like, it's negative or it's positive. It really depends on how you feel about it and what your experiences are and who you relate to.
But this is definitely a black comedy,
Oh my
because
God.
halfway through, the girls leave the room and they come back and they find Rupert P. strangled. And they're like, well, it wasn't me. And they're all like, it wasn't me either. So
I
who
liked
was
it. I liked that specifically because everyone had a motive and everyone was sketchy about it. It would be so, like, it was like Clue.
Yeah, it was kind of like a locked room mystery.
Like, it could go any way. Like how the original Clue movie, like, there were multiple endings that, like, tied in that basically everyone had done it, and there were clues laid out that to make it make sense. So, like, when it's like, oh, you know, Isabel, like, if she kills him, like, think about that scoop she would have on her website. And Apple, Rupert P. was, like, awful to her. So, like, of course, maybe she'd be upset enough to, like, strangle him. And then Erin, you find out,
she ended up sleeping with Rupert X, who was her Rupert X was her favorite. And immediately after, he, like, starts taking pictures of her naked and calling in all the guys to, like, gawk at her and just being, like, an absolute dick after she slept with him. So she wants revenge, or at least the main character didn't know about it. And the main character is just innocently kind of going along with it. She's really the only one who doesn't have a motive.
But they kind of, like, allude, like, that she might have done it because she had to go to therapy after her father died. She had a breakdown. Maybe she had another breakdown. Maybe she didn't remember what she did. Like, because her cover story, when everybody finally starts talking about where they were at the time, she tells them she was in the bar. But Erin says, no, I was in the bar, you weren't there. truth be told, she was on the roof talking to Rupert K. And she's like, none of you would have believed me if I said I was talking to Rupert K. And he tweeted me. He tweeted me to, like, come see him, and he had deleted the tweet. And so, like, they're like, you're crazy, crazy.
Yeah, so they kind of all suspect her, but it turns out that it was Rupert P's beard because, you know, he was pretending that he was straight, and he had this girlfriend who didn't know that she was a beard, which is kind of hard to believe because he made it really obvious. But anyways, so she got really pissed off, and I found her reason for getting pissed off very trivial.
Yeah, it was like, it made me think of, like, screwball black comedy from, like, the 30s. I just wanted a hotel room!
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Like, apparently he wanted her to come, but he didn't book her a room.
You could just wander the halls.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Didn't make
Buddy,
any sense.
you're rich. You can book a freaking hotel room.
Or she could have booked it herself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal. But she, like, goes crazy and finds that they had him tied up. And, yeah, she kills him.
So what do we do? We have a dead body on our hands, and we can't let the blame fall on us because we can't go to jail. Let's stuff him into Apple's suitcase and drag him up and dump him in the Rupert's room so they can deal with him.
And it's actually, like, really funny if you, like, play this scene in your head as a comedy where they're just, like, shoving his body in.
Because they're in this elevator with this body in this bag, and they're with 4 other girls who are, like, younger than them, and the mother. These girls are just like, me, Rupert, me, so exciting, me, we're gonna go see if we can, and they're just like, is that us?
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's in the suitcase, and so they end up going down all the way down to the lobby and have to go all the way back up. They do that. They dump the body in the Rupert's room and run, and then the Ruperts, most of them, they're like, "Oh shit! Somehow he's dead, and it's gonna get blamed on us."
So they weekend at Bernie's him first, though. They bring him to, like, the balcony and, like, make him wave, and the one's like, what the hell, dude? Now they know what room we're gonna be in. They know what room we're in, and they're gonna scale the building and come get us.
And so they finally, like, panic and, like, throw his body off the roof into the fan.
Oh god.
It just ends in this giant clusterfuck.
Yeah. Because the main character, she ends up going to the police and telling the story.
And, like, of course, like, you have all these fans coming, because, like, you know,
the Ruperts have been arrested because they killed their 4th member.
And the only one who has an alibi is Rupert K, because he was with the main character. So, you know, she's like, I'm his alibi, and the guy's like, yeah, you and, like, 50 other girls who have told me this story. But I have to take it because legal reasons. So, yeah, you took 4 hours to tell me the story.
And so she's posted this gigantic long book article to the internet, and that is what you're reading.
It's really cute.
It's cute, and the fact that things that I really, really liked. I liked that when she finally is alone with Rupert K and she's having the experience, she's too busy focusing on all of the shit going on to really be like, this is everything I've ever wanted. And Rupert K is now busily, like, trying to live out the Cinderella fantasy of finding her, and she's just like, it's alright, like.
Like, he's kind of not what she expected, but, like, he's not, like, a complete disappointment either. He's just, like, a normal guy.
And, like, that's definitely a thing where it's just, like, she's built this guy up in her mind, and he's human. He's a person.
Yeah, he's not, like, a complete dick like the other ones, but, you know, he's normal.
He's normal. He's just another human being with wants, needs, and dreams, and
a British accent.
So I guess that makes it good.
Of course it does. Don't argue.
But I enjoyed it. It was fun. I laughed a few times.
I think I like it more now that I'm not reading it, because, I don't know, I came out kind of shocked. Like, I was like, I don't know what I expected, but I don't think that was it. Now that I'm kind of, like, away from it, I can kind of laugh at it
I think my favorite scene, though, is when Erin turns to the main character. It's like, we have to kill the boy band. And I'm just like, whoa, the Joker. Rein it in a little bit. But the thing was, though, like, reading that scene, I've seen so many interactions that I've had with people where I get all worked up over shit and start saying ridiculous stuff. You could ask Chelsey, because I do it all the time. That's how we ended up going to Book Expo the first year. That's how it works. I say ridiculous shit and then we end up doing it.
We run it through the Chelsey meter. Anyways.
It's a fun book.
Yeah. I have to say my favorite part, retrospectively, is when they throw his body off the roof. Because you're just like, what the fuck, guys? What the fuck?
I also liked the part where they hacked into his phone. And it's just like, you can't get in there because it's password protected. And Apple's just like, try pimp.
He's like, fuck. So it was clever. It was clever and enjoyable. I mean, I've read a lot of people online being like, I didn't like this book, and some people are like, I love this book. So I think it's polarizing. If you kind of look at it as like a black comedy, it's pretty amazing.
And like if you read into it a little bit, just because a lot of people, like there's so much hatred for fan culture in mainstream media. Like fan culture is definitely looked down upon. So it's really easy to piss them off. Like if you think of Fangirl, the book Fangirl, a lot of people were upset about Fangirl because they thought that was like mishandling fan culture.
There's so many different camps that it's like impossible to encompass them all.
Yeah.
So look at them as like the extreme group who accidentally murdered their favorite boy band, and it's all good.
In the comments below, tell us what your big fandom is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you get really obsessed over, and are you...
She's currently like knee deep in Mass Effect.
Oh yeah. Whoops. That was a bad plan. I'm still messed up. I'm like a junkie. Just like...
And then they re-released the original Pokemon games, and she lost me for like 4 days. So
we have relapses.
So yeah, tell us about them in the comments below. Tell us if you liked or didn't like this book and why.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess we will see you guys later.